Again, if you want to testify, we have a list right up front here with Randal. You can sign up there. Let me just start by saying good evening and thank you for all of you for coming tonight. I know you had a lot of rain last night, but it's a pretty nice evening tonight. But first of all, my name is Lloyd Haraguchi. I'm the Executive Director for the Public Land Development Corporation, which I refer to as PLDC. With me I have Randal Ikeda, our project person for PLDC. In fact, we have just 3 people in our department right now. Let me just let you know that the restrooms are out the door, down, and it's on the ground floor. So if you need to go to the restrooms, please, it's out to the right, left to you maybe. Let me just go over a few rules for tonight's meeting. The purpose of the public hearing is to give public an opportunity to express their views, comments, and opinions on the proposed administrative rules. The administrative rules on the back table, they're referred to as chapters 13-301, 302, and 303. So if you haven't gotten a copy, please help yourself to the copies at the back of the room there. I would like to encourage everyone to sign up here to testify should you want to spend some time up here to give your viewpoints on the rules. Anyone wishing to provide testimony should, again, sign up. So please, has everyone had a chance to come on up? If not, just raise your hand, or at the end of this session, we'll make an announcement again. Those who do want to wish to come up will be able to. During the process in a public hearing, since there's quite a number of people that do want to testify, we're going to limit the testimony to 3 minutes per person. So you'll hear probably a buzzer or something that'll go off to indicate that the 3 minutes are up. This will just allow everyone to have a chance to speak this evening. As you well know, the public hearing, and I'm sure you all know, it was published on July 14 in the Star Bulletin and the Tribune Herald, as well as the Garden Isles and the Maui News. So again, thank you for coming. It looks like the notice did reach a whole bunch of you, which is good. I'm happy. Procedure this evening. For those who have not attended a public hearing before, part of the law requires us to come out to get testimony from the public. It also said that we need not go to each neighbor island, that we could have held it just on Oahu. But obviously, we heard, we listened, we're here. We're going to be coming here, of course. We're going to be going to Kona tomorrow night, and we'll hit the other neighbor islands, Maui, Kauai, and Molokai. So I think that'll allow the people in the various islands to give their viewpoints on the rules for the PLDC. When you come up to testify, please give your name and as much as possible, speak clearly, slowly, and so everyone can understand and hear your viewpoints on the rules. I think it's very important that everyone listens to what you have to say and the comments that you may have on the rules itself. And I would also like to, it's very important, this is a public hearing and this is for everyone. So I expect no threatening remarks or disruptive behavior. If I do, I'll close the meeting. I think it's fair that everyone treats each other with respect. And everyone that comes up here, will listen. And I don't think I need to be any clearer than that. It's just respect for each other's testimony or viewpoints. So hopefully I'm clear on that issue. Tonight's meeting, I think maybe some people are expecting some discussion on Public Land Development Corporation, but I just want to make this real clear that this is a testimony that you'll be providing strictly for the rules itself. This will not be a situation where we'll be answering questions. This is for the rules again, and solely for the rules. But because there's so many of you here, here, I think I'll spend a little time, maybe more than a little time, to go over some of the things maybe people have sometimes at different times misinterpreted or wasn't aware of the act itself or the law itself. So if you don't mind, I'll just go through for you some information on the Public Land Development Corporation.
But we do want to make sure that there's time for everyone to testify.
Yes. So real quickly, I want to just summarize the law. Obviously, it was passed in 2011. Now, the purpose of the Public Land PLDC is to make optimal use of public land for the economic, environmental, and social benefit of the people, to administer an appropriate and culturally sensitive public land development program, identify public land suitable for development, carry on market analysis, enter into public-private partnerships to develop lands identified, and to provide leadership for development, financing, improvement, or enhancement of selected development opportunities. What we have as part of our department's goals is the optimization plan. And maybe some of you have read the act itself, and we talk about the optimization plan. And the optimization plan is an inventory of public lands that are suitable and adequate for development potential. We'll also be very concerned that it is the protection of cultural sensitive areas, feasible strategies for promotion of marketing of leisure, recreational, commercial, residential, timeshare, hotel, office space, and business projects. Proposal to improve the gathering of data and strategies for federal and state legislative actions. What has happened during the last month? I think many of you are familiar with Honokohau Harbor. The legislature passed an act this past session and transferred Honokohau Harbor to PLDC. So as of this date, the PLDC will oversee Honokohau Harbor and look at the potential developments. Well, thank you. Anyway, Honokohau Harbor is now under PLDC. And we'll be looking at Honokohau Harbor, how we can improve the harbor itself. And not only some of the facial things that stick out like a sore thumb, the restrooms, maybe some of the facilities, the roadways, etc., or the infrastructure. So we'll be looking at a whole bunch of things. We have not done anything yet, but we'll be part of a discussion that we'll be having. And obviously, during the process, the community will be involved in the future development of Honokohau Harbor. We'll also, at the end of June of this year, but the small boat harbors will be transferred to PLDC. This will be on all islands. This will be all the small boat harbors like Wailoa, Kauai, and Alawai on Oahu, and of course Maui, Molokai, and Lanai. Yes, Lanai also. Now, we have projects. I think some of you have looked at the exemptions and say, Jesus, PLDC exempt from everything. We're exempt from land use and from zoning laws, yes. But what we are not exempt from, and that may be real clear, Chapter 343, which is the environmental impact statement, we are not exempt from that. So the process will continue for the EIS process, the environmental process. As far as the zoning is concerned, although we are exempt, let me inform you that the county oversees the zoning process, and we won't be able to just get pure exemptions from these. We need to work collaboratively with the various counties here as well as the neighbor islands to work out the zoning issues with them and approvals. Because without sewer, without water, without electricity, no project will be able to take off. So I just wanted to, make that real clear that, number one, we're not exempt from Chapter 343, the environmental impact statement, and also the land use and zoning issues. We will also not be selling any land. Let's be real clear. So I think those three issues are very important at the onset to let you know what we're all about. We can go on and on, but I think there's a lot of people that want to testify. So again, you'll have 3 minutes. Respect each other's values and time. And I'll have Randal call up the first person to testify.
Hanalei Fergustrum.
Hello, my name is Hanalei Fergustrum. I'm the spokesperson for Nakapuna Moko Kiapi, which is the massing of kupuna from all 6 major districts of the island of Hawaii. I'd like to first point out, if I might just take a few extra seconds here, to point out this meeting does not meet the criteria of a public hearing, because their recording device is one little pocket held thing, which means that you're not going to get a transcript of what happens here. You're not going to be able to trace all the actions that are going on. You're not going to be able to trace any of this stuff, which is why you have public meeting formats. Anyway, that being said, I would like to say that, first of all, as Nakapuna Moko Kiapi, we were very concerned about Act 55 in the first place. This idea that the state, who is a trustee, has somehow assumed this position that they're the owner and they can engage in private public development. That private public development leaves the public out. When you exempt from things like zoning laws, building codes and all these type of things, I believe it's in section 12 of the 302 document. Anyway, these kind of exemptions, it brings to question why we have these laws to protect the public in the first place, if you can come in and simply exempt yourself from it. For years we've been trying to save what we can of the ceded lands. These are not the state of Hawaii's lands. They're held in trust. The state is a trustee. They are not the owner. So to make an agreement with a private corporation that exempts me from using that is taking me out of that public trust. And I believe there's an error in your thinking legally. And I think you should be very, very aware of this, because I believe you could be held in breach of trust for violations of the Emissions Act. And I think there's going to be a whole lot of testimony regarding stuff like this, so I'm just going to let it go. I will be in contact with you. I'm sorry I'm not prepared with a written statement right now, but I'll have one by the 13th, I believe, which is the cutoff point. Thank you very much.
Cory, Harden, and then can I also ask Waiakea Akata? And then after that, Dr. Mike.
Good evening. Appreciate you guys coming to listen to us. The 21st century Mahele, that's what some people are calling Public Land Development Corporation. PLDC was snuck into a bill at the tail end of a state legislative session with no chance for public testimony. Senator Solomon and Dela Cruz want to use PLDC to support geothermal and building in rural areas. Hawaii has other quasi-governmental development agencies like the Hawaii Community Development Authority and the Aloha Tower Development Corporation. They have a poor track record of repeated problems. PLDC is jumping the gun, perhaps illegally, on 2 counts. First, they're acting on projects even though these rules are not finalized. That means no direction on how PLDC operates and no criteria for selecting projects. A perfect setup for sweetheart deals. Second, PLDC is acting on projects before doing an inventory, as required, of all public lands. Under the most appalling draft rules, these scenarios are allowed. PLDC can take land and terminate leases. There's only one hearing with only 6 days' notice at the Board of Land and Natural Resources in Honolulu properly for leases and transferring land and development rights from the state to private entities. Projects can ignore state and county land use designations, zoning ordinances, building codes, community development plans, construction standards, and other requirements. And if I understand the rules correctly, neighbors of projects can be forced to install costly underground utilities on just 30 days' notice. If they don't, state or private workers can come on their property and do the work. The neighbor gets the bill and just 30 days to pay. If they don't pay, the state requires installment payments. If these aren't made, there's a penalty, and PLDC can put a lien on the property, and you would need to hire a lawyer to contest anything. If you're near a project, you can also be forced to build and fix sidewalks. Other stuff I'm more certain of, decisions can be made by just 2 PLDC members meeting behind closed doors. PLDC can invest more than $500,000 in a private enterprise and can own more than half of the private enterprise. In short, PLDC seriously oversteps the bounds of government. It sells out the aina, the culture, and the people to local and transnational corporations. PLDC should be abolished.